All right, so I was asked to do a quick Grasshopper definition to show how to make this wall in plan, and I guess we could extrude it into 3D as well. So I'm going to go through and show you how I did that, and then maybe later we'll talk about how to put a material in it so it looks like it does. If we look at AutoCAD, they have files that you can download, right, that has the information about, how big this thing is. So you want to download that, you can. I did, but honestly, I didn't really pay attention to what I was doing in this case. But what I've done is made a little Grasshopper definition here that grabs a curve. So it grabs that curve and then it divides that curve. So let's go ahead and shut this whole thing down for right now. So the first thing you do is get the curve. So I just drew a curve in Rhino and got it. And then you divide the curve, right? And then I got horizontal frames for the curve. So it goes through and gets all of these horizontal frames. And I deconstruct the plane just to get the axis to draw the line SDLs. So I know this looks a little crazy here. So I'll turn that off. But basically what it does is it goes through every point and gets the horizontal plane. And that allows me to draw these lines perpendicular to the originating curve. And then what I do is I take those lines and I dispatch them into two lists. So let's go ahead and preview that. So I just split it into two curves because what I have to do, of course, is, if I zoom out, I think I've got it in here, is I have to kind of go every other curve, right, to get that, every other point to get that. And so I went ahead and split the curves into two, and then I divided those curves with points and split those points into two. So let me highlight those. I divided those into two, and then I split the points into two, right? So I've got each point on each curve separately. And then we take those points and weave them together, and that stacks one on top of the other. And then if we interpolate those, we get half of our thing. And let me go ahead and get rid of that. And this just does it for the other half. The only thing you have to do is shift. You have to change the starting line. Like we started here, and this one we want to start here. And so we have to cull this index and pop the first line over. We can kind of explore that later. I don't know if it's worth going into right now. But that gives us the other set of lines, right? So what you can do with that is, if I go now, you can just pick any curve you want. So if I set one curve, I can pick this curve, right? And now it's doing a super wide because I don't have a lot of divisions. But if I pull this number division up, then you're getting sort of that curve as it's going through there. And let me go ahead and get rid of these, right? So there's that piece. And then of course you could get rid of all of that stuff, right? And if you want to, you can actually, oops, let's do, there we go. You can draw another curve on the other side, so it closes it off. But that's kind of what I've got. So I think it's pretty close, right? So if I come in and change that curve, right, it'll update based on what I do with it, right? And you'll see it'll overlap some when it gets in the tight spots, but I mean, for right now, I think that's okay, right? All right, so that's it. I'll post these files and the video. All right, so I thought I'd go ahead and add this little bit, like making it a 3D. Right now I've got it set to the large curve, so let's do the small curve first and see how that works. So if I come in and set one curve and pick this guy, right, and then I'm gonna pull the divisions back down to something that makes a little more sense, right, like that guy. And then I'll extrude these curves and we'll see what happens. So I'm just going to take the curves, right? So curve. Look at the panel here and see what it's pumping out. Let's go ahead and flatten these guys and then we'll push them into this curve. So if I flatten that and then flatten this, and then let's put it into this curve. That should just be a list of curves. Yep. All right. So now for the moment of truth, right? Let's move these guys down here. So if we take that and push it into there, right, there's your three-dimensional, right? So if you wanted to grow it, right, you're starting to get that. All right, so let's do it with the big curve. What do you think? Let me disable this and I'll come over here and set new curve. Right, and then push this guy up. Oh boy. All right, so let's enable this and see how it does. Okay, so I enable that. It's pretty good. It looks pretty good. So I think, you know, you're good to go. Right? All right.